Have you ever felt like your thoughts don't belong in this world? Like the way your mind works isn't just different, it's incomprehensible to most people around you? Carl Jung once wrote, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." But what if who you truly are can't be explained in everyday language? What if your thoughts move in patterns, metaphors, and inner visions that others can't grasp? What if you were born with a kind of mind that only 1% of the population is wired to understand? If this resonates even a little, don't look away, because what we're about to explore may explain why you've always felt like the other, even in a room full of people. And the eighth insight, yes, that final one, may completely shift how you see your place in this world. You see, across decades of studying the psyche, Jung identified a pattern. A small percentage of people, sometimes called INFJs or INTJs in personality psychology, aren't just introverted or intuitive. Their consciousness operates on a different frequency altogether. These are not merely intelligent minds. Intelligence is easy to measure. These are multi-layered minds, deep, symbolic, abstract, attuned to subtle emotional frequencies and vast unconscious forces. They don't just think, they feel truth in nonlinear ways. They don't just observe, they sense what's unsaid. Modern neuroscience might label them as highly sensitive, emotionally attuned, with unusually strong activity in the default mode network, the part of the brain linked to introspection, imagination, and deep self-processing. But Jung saw something even more mystical in them. He called them the bridges between the conscious and unconscious worlds. Maybe you've noticed this in yourself. Conversations that seem shallow, social situations that feel performative, insights you can't explain but that prove to be accurate, a loneliness not of being alone, but of not being truly seen. You're not imagining it. You're not broken. You may simply be wired to perceive a different layer of reality. And here's where it gets even more fascinating. Jung discovered that these rare minds often don't realize how rare they are. They grow up feeling alien, too intense, too complicated. They try to simplify themselves to fit in, to avoid the blank stares when they speak the truth as they see it. They absorb emotions like sponges. They anticipate things before they happen, not as a party trick, but as a pattern recognition their brain can't not perform. The world has often misunderstood people like this, but history shows they've quietly shaped the deepest ideas of civilization. Thinkers like Nikola Tesla, Carl Jung, Leonardo da Vinci, even mystics like Hildegard von Bingen or prophets like Edgar Cayce, people who seem to exist between worlds, translating the invisible into words, images, systems of thought. But make no mistake, this path isn't easy. These minds often face spiritual exhaustion, existential isolation, and the burden of having to translate their inner reality for those who only operate on the surface. They are, in Jungian terms, initiates of a lifelong individuation process called not just to live, but to become. In this video, we're going to explore the 8 unmistakable signs that your mind may be one of those rare 1%, the kind that can't be fully understood by the masses. Each of these signs draws not just from Carl Jung's analytic psychology, but also from insights in neuroscience, ancient philosophy, and the deep wells of intuitive experience. As we move forward, I'll invite you not just to listen, but to reflect, to recognize yourself in these layers, to remember what you've always known but never had words for. Because this video isn't just information, it's an initiation, a mirror, a map for those who have walked through the fire of self-questioning, navigated the shadow of alienation, and emerged with a mind that sees not just the world, but through it. So stay with me. Sign by sign, we'll walk this path together. And by the end, you might not just understand yourself better, you might begin to see your difference as your destiny. Let's begin. Have you ever noticed something before anyone else did? An unspoken shift in a room, a strange sequence of events, or a feeling that something was about to happen, and then watched as it unfolded exactly the way you sensed it would? If so, this may not be coincidence. It may be the first sign that your mind was built to perceive hidden patterns that others cannot see. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Carl Jung. Carl Jung called this capacity introverted intuition, a rare psychological function possessed by only a few. People with this trait don't just receive information from the world, they decode it. They see connections where others see chaos, and they sense meaning in the seemingly mundane. Their thoughts are less like straight lines and more like spirals, looping through time, emotion, memory, and symbol. Imagine this: while someone else hears a conversation and processes the words at face value, you hear the tone shifts, sense the tension behind the smiles, notice the subtle disconnect between what's said and what's meant. Your mind triangulates between what is present, what was implied, and what might unfold. You're not guessing. You're observing on a level that defies linear logic. This is the invisible brilliance of your cognition, and it's often misunderstood. Most people live in what can be described as surface awareness. They see events as isolated snapshots. You, on the other hand, perceive events as threads in a vast tapestry, woven with meaning, memory, and consequence. This can be both exhilarating and exhausting. Why? Because it means you're constantly on, constantly aware, constantly translating the complexity of reality into a language only you seem to speak. But here's the paradox: your unique mind can feel like a burden, even though it's a gift. You might ask yourself, why do I always notice what no one else sees? Or why do I pip on people's emotions even when they say nothing's wrong? You might even question your sanity at times, especially when your insights are met with confusion or outright rejection. That's because most people aren't wired to process reality the way you do. And as Jung discovered, rare minds often walk alone, not because they choose isolation, but because they experience the world in multidimensional layers while others skim only the surface. Let's take a moment here to ground this in science. Neuroscience today confirms that individuals with high intuitive ability show greater activity in the default mode network, a part of the brain responsible for self-reflection, simulation of the future, and pattern recognition. Functional MRI scans have shown that these individuals process information across multiple brain regions simultaneously, a mental orchestra where others may only play one instrument. And this pattern of thinking doesn't stop at the personal. People like Leonardo da Vinci, Carl Jung, Alan Watts, and Nikola Tesla often describe being overwhelmed by ideas and seeing entire systems unfold in their minds long before others could catch up. They weren't gifted in a traditional sense. They were pattern seers, tuned into the deeper rhythms of reality. So, what does this look like in everyday life? You might find yourself finishing people's sentences, not because you're impatient, but because you feel where their thoughts are going. You might be the one in your group who predicts someone's breakup, job change, or emotional collapse before it even begins. You don't read minds, you read fields, energy, context, tone, and pattern. And that's something most people can't explain, so they label it weird or too intense. But what if your entire life has been preparing you to embrace this difference instead of hiding it? Jung believed that people with introverted intuition were not just thinkers, they were visionaries. Their ability to connect the dots, to sense the symbolic architecture of life, made them natural guides between the seen and unseen. In mythology, they would be the oracle, the dream walker, the map maker of the inner world. And here's the part that might move you most. This pattern recognition doesn't only apply to the external world, it applies within. You're not just decoding other people, you're decoding yourself. You sense when your emotions don't match your thoughts. You recognize when your beliefs contradict your behavior. And more importantly, you question why. This inner investigation leads you to live with a kind of psychological integrity that others often admire, but rarely understand. You may even find yourself drawn to storytelling, symbolism, or metaphors, because direct explanation doesn't capture the layers of truth you experience. In fact, many with this type of mind prefer writing, art, or quiet reflection over social conversation. Not because they're shy, but because the depth of their thoughts requires space to breathe. Here's the key insight Jung offered. Those who can see the pattern must also learn to teach it. Your insights are not just for your own healing. They are seeds of understanding meant to help others. But to do this, you must first stop deluding yourself. You must stop apologizing for thinking differently. Your mind wasn't made to echo others, it was made to reveal what others overlook. And yet, there's a cost to this vision. Seeing more often means feeling more. You might feel the emotional undercurrents of a room before anyone speaks. You might sense dishonesty before it's confirmed. You may carry the burden of knowing and the solitude of not being believed. But don't let that drive you into isolation, because your way of thinking, as rare as it is, holds the power to transform the collective. Jung saw these individuals as the soul's bridge between the unconscious and the conscious. Without them, society repeats its errors. With them, we evolve. So now ask yourself, have you been suppressing your ability to see, or are you ready to own it, fully, unapologetically, and wisely? Because once you do, the world may never fully understand you, but it will start to feel the impact of your presence, quietly, powerfully, unmistakably. And in the next chapter, we'll go even deeper, beyond pattern recognition into the multi-layered reality you live in. Because for minds like yours, even the most ordinary moments hold extraordinary meaning. Let me ask you something simple, yet unsettling. Have you ever felt like you're watching two movies at once? One on the screen and one playing silently behind it? That's what it's like to live with a layered mind. And if that sounds familiar, you may be one of the rare few whose consciousness doesn't just interpret life, it penetrates it. You don't just see events, you feel the emotional undercurrents, the archetypal echoes, the psychic weather drifting behind people's words and actions. Where most see a flat picture, you see depth, tension, texture, and contradiction. Carl Jung described this as psychological depth perception. Just like some people can see 3D images without special glasses, your mind naturally perceives the unseen, the unspoken meanings, the emotional residues, the future consequences hiding inside present moments. Think about the last time someone told you, "I'm fine." You didn't just hear the words. You noticed the strain in their voice, the shallow breath, the subtle hesitation. You sensed the disconnect between their surface and their truth. That's because your mind doesn't stop at what's said, it dives beneath it. It reads tone, energy, context, history all at once. This might sound like empathy, but it's more than that. It's perceptual intelligence, an evolved form of cognition that allows you to operate on multiple dimensions of reality simultaneously. Let's ground this in science. According to studies published in Frontiers in Human Neuroscience, people with highly intuitive or layered cognitive styles show greater brain integration, meaning their left and right hemispheres communicate more efficiently, creating a kind of meta-awareness. They don't compartmentalize experience, they synthesize it. This is why they often appear calm on the outside, while their inner world is mapping invisible landscapes of meaning. But here's the hidden cost. When you try to share your layered insights with others, you're often met with confusion or dismissal. You describe what you feel is happening beneath the surface, and others look at you like you're imagining things. They ask, "How do you know that?" And you don't know how to explain because you just do. This is where the loneliness begins. Most people communicate in straight lines. You, however, speak in spirals. You bring up something from 3 conversations ago because you felt its relevance. You respond to what someone meant, not just what they said. And when people don't follow, you retreat. You simplify. You silence yourself, not because you lack clarity, but because your world has layers they were never taught to perceive. Jung knew this. He warned that individuals with deep perceptual minds often suffer not from confusion, but from exile. They feel like strangers among their own kind, not because they're wrong, but because they're ahead. But here's the turning point. What if your layered perception isn't a flaw to hide, but a map to guide others? Throughout history, mystics, visionaries, and healers were those who could sense the unseen currents of human behavior. They didn't just observe, they interpreted. They became translators of the invisible. And you carry that same blueprint. Let's take an example. Think of someone who walks into a room and instantly senses tension before a word is spoken. They notice who avoids eye contact, whose smile is tight, who's overcompensating. Most people just see a meeting. This person sees a psychological battlefield. That person might be you. And while others find comfort in appearances, your mind is drawn to the real. You crave conversations that peel back the layers, art that speaks in metaphor, music that carries truth beneath its melody. You long for meaning, not noise. And once you taste depth, it's nearly impossible to go back to the surface. But there's a reason your mind is this way. Carl Jung believed that people with layered perception were essential to human evolution. Why? Because they don't just reflect reality, they transform it. They expose what's hidden, bring light to the unconscious, and remind us that truth isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet, subtle, symbolic. And that brings us to a crucial truth. The more layers you perceive, the more shadow you encounter. This means your journey will inevitably take you into uncomfortable places, not just in others, but in yourself. You'll see your own contradictions. You'll feel truths that don't fit conventional categories. You'll hold paradox and clarity in the same hand. This isn't easy, but it's sacred. Because once you realize that life isn't flat, that every moment holds multiple meanings, and that your ability to navigate this complexity is not a curse, but a calling, you stop shrinking, you stop explaining, you start embodying your perception. And in doing so, you give others permission to look deeper too. Jung called this individuation, the lifelong process of integrating all the layers of self, conscious and unconscious, light and dark, outer and inner. It's not a linear journey. It's a spiral of returning again and again to the parts of you that were once misunderstood and reclaiming them with reverence. So next time someone says you overthink things, smile gently, because what they call overthinking might just be deep perception, and what they call too much is often just too true for them to process. Now take a breath, look around, feel the hidden stories pulsing beneath the silence of this moment. That's your gift. You don't just live reality, you read it. And the more you honor that, the more you become what Jung called a bringer of meaning in a world obsessed with surfaces. But there's more. Because the deeper you go, the more you're drawn to what others avoid, the uncomfortable, the forbidden, the shadow. And in the next chapter, we'll explore why people like you are irresistibly drawn to the darker side of the human psyche. Not for darkness itself, but for the light that can only be found when we stop running from it. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Carl Jung. Let's be honest. Have you ever been drawn to the broken, the mysterious, the morally gray? While others rush toward light and comfort, you find yourself quietly standing at the edges, curious about what hides in the dark. You're not looking for danger, you're looking for truth, even the parts of truth that make people uncomfortable. If this sounds like you, there's a reason. You're not fascinated by the shadow because you're morbid. You're fascinated because you know deep down that wholeness cannot be achieved by denying half of what we are. Carl Jung called this the shadow, the disowned, repressed, or hidden parts of ourselves that we bury because they don't fit the image we've created. And he warned, the greater the light, the darker the shadow. The more conscious we become, the more we must be willing to confront what lives in the basement of the soul. Now here's where it gets personal. If you're one of the rare minds who perceives in layers, who reads between emotional lines and navigates the unconscious, you've probably felt this pull toward the forbidden. You question what others label as bad or wrong, not because you approve of destruction, but because you want to understand why it exists. You're the one who reads true crime stories not for the gore, but for the psychology. You're the one who finds beauty in flawed characters, who notices the pain behind anger, who sees trauma where others only see cruelty. And while the world is quick to separate people into good and evil, your mind whispers, wait, there's more here. The hook here is this. While most people try to escape the shadow, you go toward it. And that makes you rare, but it also makes you dangerous. Not in action, but in insight. Because once you see the shadow in others, you also begin to see it in yourself. That's the real reason most people avoid the darkness. It's not just fear of what they'll find in others, it's fear of what they'll find within. But your mind was built to integrate, not escape. To walk into complexity, not run from it. And here's the strange thing Jung discovered. Those who are drawn to the shadow are often the ones who are most capable of healing it. Because they do not judge it, they witness it. They bring light into darkness not by rejecting it, but by sitting with it until it reveals its origin. Take a moment to think about this. Have you ever found yourself in deep conversations that others would call too heavy? Have you had friends confess secrets to you they've told no one else? Do people sense, without knowing why, that you're safe to open up to? That's not an accident. That's the result of your capacity to hold space for the whole human being, not just the polished version, but the raw, unfinished, hurting parts, and the world desperately needs more of that. In trauma psychology, this is known as shadow empathy, the ability to hold complexity without collapsing into judgment. Neuroscientist Dr. Gabor Mate speaks often of this gift, calling it compassionate inquiry, a state of curiosity towards suffering rather than fear of it. This is what rare minds like yours do naturally. But there's a cost. When you walk in the shadow, you risk being misunderstood. You may be accused of being too dark, too intense, too obsessed with what should be left alone. People may try to pull you back into the safety of small talk, pop wisdom, and toxic positivity, but you can't stay there because you know that light without shadow is an illusion. Carl Jung described this process of confronting the shadow as the beginning of individuation, the true path to becoming whole. And it's not easy. It means facing your own envy, rage, fear, pride. It means seeing the parts of yourself you were taught to shame and realizing they too carry wisdom. You might find yourself wondering, why do I feel so deeply for people who've done terrible things? Why do I see the child inside the abuser, the pain inside the tyrant? Because your mind doesn't stop at judgment. It moves into understanding, and that is the first step toward collective healing. Let's be clear, seeing the shadow doesn't mean excusing harm. It means acknowledging that all behavior has roots, and that real change only comes when we understand those roots. You're not afraid to trace things back to where they started, and that gives you the power not just to interpret the world, but to transform it. Now, here's something that might shock you. Throughout history, the greatest spiritual teachers, philosophers, and revolutionaries were people who had befriended their own shadow. From Buddha's night under the Bodhi tree to Jesus's 40 days in the desert, from Rumi's surrender to longing to Carl Jung's descent into the unconscious, transcendence always required a walk through darkness. And if your mind is wired like theirs, it means you too are called not just to think differently, but to live courageously, to ask the questions others avoid, to hold pain without flinching, to let the shadow speak, not because you worship it, but because you're no longer afraid of what it has to say. And that brings us to a deeper truth. Those who walk with the shadow become translators of the soul. You help others name what they've buried. You show them that wholeness is not perfection, but integration. You remind them that the parts they hide may hold the key to their purpose. So the next time you feel drawn to the darker side of human nature, don't shame yourself. Recognize it as your path toward truth. And when people say you're too deep, smile. Because what they call too much is often the exact medicine the world needs. And yet this depth of insight comes with a price, a sense of loneliness, a quiet ache that few will ever understand the world the way you do. But that's exactly where we're heading next, because in the following chapter, we'll explore the language of isolation, the ache of being too aware, and what it really means to speak a different psychological language than the world around you. Have you ever spoken your truth? Calmly, clearly, sincerely, only to be met with blank stares, uncomfortable silence, or responses so off the mark they made you question whether you were speaking the same language as everyone else? That feeling, it's not your imagination. It's not a communication issue. It's a frequency issue. Carl Jung once described the rarest minds as those whose inner world is so richly symbolic, so deeply layered, that trying to explain it in everyday words feels like trying to pour the ocean into a teacup. These people aren't just thinking, they're translating across dimensions of thought, emotion, intuition, memory, and unconscious resonance. And for them, language becomes a bottleneck. This is one of the most isolating signs of a rare mind, the sense that you're constantly too much for a world built on surface-level dialogue. Not because you're dramatic, but because you're honest, because you name things others won't, because you feel what no one else will admit is there. In modern psychology, this experience is often connected to intellectual overexcitability or emotional depth perception, traits commonly seen in gifted adults, INFJ, INTJ personality types, and highly sensitive individuals. But Jung went deeper. He saw this as a kind of archetypal exile, a necessary loneliness that emerges when someone carries a vision or insight not yet ready to be received by the collective. You might recognize this in your own life. Perhaps you've been in group conversations where people joke about something that strikes you as cruel or shallow. You offer a different take, something reflective, nuanced, honest, and the energy shifts. People fidget, change the subject, look away, and you wonder, did I say too much or did I simply say what no one else wanted to face? That is the burden of a rare inner language. It's not just about vocabulary, it's about resonance. Your thoughts hum at a depth most people have never tuned their ears to hear. And so, again and again, you're left with a choice: speak and risk being misunderstood, or remain silent and carry the weight alone. But here's the truth Jung uncovered: this isolation is not a flaw, it's a crucible. It is the very condition through which the soul is refined. Silence, when chosen consciously, becomes sacred. But when forced by rejection, it becomes sorrow. And this is where many rare minds get stuck, between the need to express and the fear of not being heard. Yet even in that silence, something powerful begins to happen. You begin to write, to paint, to compose, to journal, to create art or systems or stories that don't require immediate understanding. Because creative expression allows you to speak in metaphor. And metaphor, unlike plain speech, has layers. It's the language of myth, of dreams, of the collective unconscious. It doesn't explain, it reveals. That's why many individuals with rare minds gravitate towards symbolic communication. They feel more seen through music, poetry, visual art, or written reflection than they ever do in casual conversation. It's not because they're antisocial. It's because ordinary language is too narrow a hallway for the architecture of their thoughts. Let's take this further. Jung taught that the human psyche communicates through symbols. Dreams are symbolic. Intuition is symbolic. Trauma and healing are both embedded in archetypal stories. So when your inner world begins to awaken, you don't just speak, you transmit. And this transmission feels foreign to those who've never learned the language of the soul. But this doesn't mean you should stop speaking. In fact, your voice, though misunderstood at times, is essential. Because for every person who looks confused, there is one who will feel relief. One who will breathe easier hearing someone finally articulate what they've always sensed but never named. One who will say, I thought I was the only one. And that's where the shift happens. You stop speaking to be understood and start speaking to remember who you are. You stop explaining yourself and start creating space for others who speak in the same symbolic tongue. You become, in Jungian terms, a bridge between worlds, offering insight not for validation, but for illumination. Still, let's be real, this isn't easy. Speaking a different psychological language comes with consequences. You might lose friendships. You might be called intense, sensitive, too quiet, too complex. You might spend years doubting your voice, trying to tone it down to fit in. But over time, you'll discover this truth. You were never meant to be fluent in surface. You were meant to become fluent in essence. And when that shift clicks, when you embrace the unique way your mind assembles meaning, you stop needing external approval. Because you realize that your insights aren't random, they're revelations. They are the whispers of a consciousness that is remembering itself, piece by piece, word by word. Philosopher and mystic Ingo Swann once wrote, "The real secrets are not hidden from us, they are hidden within us." And rare minds are those who come here to remember those inner codes and give them voice in a world that's forgotten how to listen. That's you. Let me ask you something quietly, intimately. Have you ever looked at someone smiling and felt the sadness they were hiding behind their eyes? Have you ever heard someone's confident words but sensed the trembling underneath? If so, you know what it means to see through social masks. Carl Jung wrote, "Personality is the supreme realization of the innate idiosyncrasy of a living being. But most people don't live as their true personality. They live as their persona, the social face they present to the world, shaped by fear, expectation, and the need to belong." For the rare mind, this disconnect is not just noticeable, it's unavoidable. Because when you're attuned to layers, as we explored in previous chapters, you can't help but feel the gap between someone's outer expression and inner reality. You see the smile, but you hear the silence behind it. You hear the praise, but you sense the performance. You engage in conversation, yet part of you is already tracking the emotional weather they're trying so hard to conceal. And that is both your gift and your burden. In Jungian psychology, the persona is not inherently negative. It serves as a necessary interface with society, helping us navigate roles, relationships, and expectations. But problems arise when people become entangled with the mask, forgetting who they are beneath it. They identify so strongly with the role, mother, teacher, CEO, comedian, that the deeper self begins to atrophy. And here's where your rare perception becomes vital, because you don't just see people, you see through them, not in a judgmental way, but in a compassionate, instinctual, almost spiritual way. You see the human trying behind the role, the wound beneath the anger, the child under the armor. And that's not something you choose, it's something you are. So here's the hook. What most people mistake for social awkwardness in you is often just your discomfort with inauthenticity. You can't fake it. You can't play the game. You can't participate in surface level small talk while your intuition is screaming that something much deeper is going on. And this naturally sets you apart. Think about how often people come to you and accidentally spill something deeply personal, something they hadn't planned to share, or how children, animals, even strangers seem to sense that you're safe. That's not random. That's resonance. Your presence invites truth, even when words can't. But here's the twist. Seeing through social masks can be deeply isolating, because while others are charmed by charisma or fooled by performance, you're sitting there wondering if anyone is being real. And when you call it out, gently or otherwise, you risk being labeled difficult, intense, or too sensitive. Carl Jung warned of this. He said that those who begin to perceive beneath appearances often experience a form of psychological loneliness, not because people avoid them, but because authentic connection becomes rare. This loneliness isn't just emotional, it's existential. When you see the world filtered through masks, constructed identities, curated lives, social posturing, you begin to crave something raw. You long for truth tellers, for silence that feels safe, for eyes that don't lie. And sometimes you wonder, am I the only one who sees how performative this all is? You're not, but you are part of a rare few. Studies in neuropsychology have shown that people with high emotional and intuitive intelligence can read micro-expressions, tiny flashes of emotion that most people miss. These split-second cues reveal what someone truly feels before they return to their socially acceptable face. Your brain picks up on this, often faster than you can consciously explain, and the result is a deep knowing that few others can validate. And yet, you're not trying to expose anyone. On the contrary, your instinct is to protect their truth, to make space for what's real. You don't want to rip off masks. You want to gently help people remember who they were before they felt the need to wear one. Jung believed that those who see beyond the persona are essential for collective awakening. They are the ones who initiate others into authenticity, not through confrontation, but through presence. Simply by being real, you give others permission to do the same. But here's the challenge. Not everyone is ready to be seen. And when they sense that you can see past their carefully managed identity, they may resist you. They may mock you, avoid you, or try to box you in because your very existence threatens their illusion. This is where discernment becomes essential. You must learn to recognize when someone is ready to be seen and when they're still protecting themselves. Just because you can see through someone doesn't mean you should always reveal what you see. Compassion and timing are everything. And this applies to your own mask too. Because yes, even the most self-aware among us wear masks at times. Not to deceive, but to survive. And there's no shame in that. The difference is, you know you're wearing one. You feel the tension when your outer self misaligns with your inner truth. And the more you evolve, the more intolerable that misalignment becomes. Eventually, your soul starts to whisper, enough pretending, enough playing small. It's time to live as who you really are, even if it means losing what was built on the mask. And when you begin to remove yours, something extraordinary happens. Your energy shifts. Your voice deepens. Your relationships either fall away or deepen into something far more real. And slowly, the people who resonate with your authentic frequency begin to appear. Not because you searched for them, but because your truth became a lighthouse. That's the path of the rare mind. Not to judge the masks of others, but to become so rooted in your own truth that the world around you begins to shift. You may still walk among performances, but you will no longer perform. And in doing so, you'll help others remember that they don't need to either. And now, a final truth before we move on. The more you embrace this clarity, the ability to see behind appearances, the more you'll confront an aching question. Where are the others like me? Because seeing through the world can sometimes make you feel apart from it. That ache is real. It has a name: existential loneliness. But that's the threshold we're about to cross. In our next and final chapter, we'll go deeper than we've gone before, to the quiet, echoing space where rare minds live when they realize that their perception, insight, and depth don't easily fit into modern life. We'll explore what it means to walk through the world alone, but awake, and how that solitude becomes a sacred doorway. If you've made it this far, take a breath, not to move forward, but to arrive fully, deeply, right here. Because this wasn't just a video, it was a remembering of the part of you that always knew deep down that your sensitivity was never weakness, that your intensity was not a flaw to be corrected, but a signal that your soul was built for something more. That your inner knowing, no matter how inconvenient, was always telling you the truth. You didn't imagine it. You didn't exaggerate it. You sensed it. And now, you've named it. Throughout this journey, we've explored the unseen architecture of the rare mind, one built not for fitting in, but for seeing deeply. We've walked through the 8 signs that most people will never talk about, never understand, because most people don't have to. But you do. You've always had to. Because your mind doesn't just observe reality, it feels it, filters it, translates it through a kaleidoscope of intuition, insight, and emotional intelligence. And each chapter of this video wasn't just information, it was initiation. You walked through patterns no one else noticed, through emotional layers that make you question everything, through shadow, through masks, through silence, and through that most sacred ache, the loneliness of seeing too much in a world that prefers to stay blind. But that ache, that exile, it's not your ending, it's your beginning. Carl Jung once said the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. But you've already started, and that makes you dangerous in the most beautiful way. Dangerous to illusions, dangerous to the systems that feed on unconsciousness, dangerous to the belief that being different is a defect. You've been initiated into your own wholeness, and now comes the question that lingers, quietly yet powerfully at the end of every awakening. What will you do with this knowing? Because the truth is, the world doesn't need more minds that conform. It needs minds that feel, minds that sense, minds that see beneath, beyond, and through. And most of all, it needs rare minds like yours to stop hiding, to stop doubting, to stop apologizing for being too quiet, too intense, too sensitive, too deep, too much, because you were never too much for the world. The world was simply too shallow to meet you where you were, until now. Because somewhere out there, someone else is walking through this world feeling the same things, seeing the same gaps, carrying the same questions, and they're just waiting to hear a voice that sounds like theirs. Your voice. So I ask you now, if something in this video stirred something ancient in you, a whisper, a memory, a recognition, don't let it pass like a thought. Let it take root. Let it deepen. Let it grow into a life where you don't just understand yourself, you live as yourself, where you speak in your own language, even if others don't understand, where you hold space for others without compromising your own center, where your depth becomes your direction, not your burden. And if this message spoke to your soul, please don't keep it to yourself. Like this video. Subscribe for more content like this, and share it with someone who needs to hear it, someone you suspect might also be walking around with a brilliant, beautiful mind that the world never quite knew how to hold. And just for fun, if you recognize yourself in the drop a 1 in the comments. If you're still not sure, but you feel curious and awakened, leave a 0. You never know who might respond and what kind of connection might begin in that thread. You've been watching Awakened Wisdom, where ancient truth meets modern awakening. And remember this always, your rare mind is not a mistake. It is a map. And now that you see it clearly, you are no longer lost. You are just beginning. I'll see you in the next video.